Martin Morad, born in 1936, in 1953 the family had to leave Iran to Switzerland, so Martin Morad spent his early youth years in Switzerland, finishing the high school in Geneva, Switzerland, École Internationale School. So this is, then he left from Switzerland for higher education to the United States. So in the United States, he earned a bachelor's degree in biology chemistry in the Lake Forest College in the United States. Then he earned a degree of PhD at physiology in the State University of New York. And he had not a specific mentor as far as I learned, but he was very much influenced by world-class top scientists, Professor Carmeli, whom I referred in the previous Laudation, Brian Hoffman, a world-class cardiac scientist, and Paz Carvalho and Furgot, who won later on Nobel Prize. And he spent his postdoctoral years in Heidelberg, Heidelberg University in Germany, and his mentor was Wolfgang Trautwein. He was a very iconic figure in the 60s and 70s in Europe, in Germany. And he met there with Professor Dieter Lux, who was a very well-known and very successful neurophysiologist. He was actually the mentor of Erwin Neher, who won later on with Bert Sakmann the Nobel Prize discovering patch clamp technique. So then he continued at the University of California, Los Angeles, and his mentor, he considered his very influential mentor when he met with Sir André Huxley, who was again a very iconic figure in cardiac electrophysiology. And as I told you, as a visiting scientist at Max Planck Institute with Professor Dieter Lux, and he worked together with Erwin Neher there. So then he followed his scientific career as a professor of physiology and medicine at University of Pennsylvania. He spent quite a lot of time there. You see his team, his lab. The picture was taken in 1975. Then at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., and in present he works as an endo professor at the universities of South Carolina. And he has trained more than 100 graduate students. That's an unimaginably high number. And many of those during his career became top-class professors in the field. And he has over 300 original publications, and many of those were in Science, Nature, and as I mentioned, Journal of Physiology, Circulation and Circulation Research. So he had a very rich scientific work and contribution. So that was probably one of the most important tasks in my laudation, to list the most important contribution to science, because he has so many. So he had a pioneering work in cardiac electrophysiological coupling, similar topic what you have heard the lecture from Professor David Eisner. Then adrenergic regulation of the heart, also this was mentioned in the previous talk. He had very important contribution to the development of several new techniques. I would here just highlight the sucrose gap technique, which is a very basic, that was a very basic technique. That was the early voltage clamp technique, which we used to measure ionic current before the patch clamp was discovered. So, and he had very important work to clarify the sinonodal pacemaking activity. In other words, what is the mechanism, how the heart beats continuously throughout our life continuously. And his recent work regards the mitochondrial and human embryonic cell related calcium signaling. So he's still very active, and his current research focused on the complex heart-protein interaction, pioneering work to use the stem cell-derived cardiomyocytes and gene editing approach, which may lead to new therapeutic approaches to treat life-threatening cardiac arrhythmias. So he had a lot of honors and prizes, and just would like to highlight two with the bold lettering. So the first one, which made him possible to join to the lab, the Max Planck Institute in Germany, and he got the Jean Slezak Award you see on the picture, and just you see him, and you can see on the picture again Professor Carmeli. He was really, he considered one of his mentor in the early years. So I don't know, because okay, that's my last slide, which I wanted to share you, because Martin has a strong desire to visit Hungary, and he is very welcomed in Hungary. He visits often Central Europe, especially Hungary, and enjoys the culture, history, gastronomy, and this is some pictures taken in Eger and Szeged, and you should know that Persia and Hungary shares a common history, because we fought with the Ottoman Empire from the west. Persia fought the Ottoman Empire in the east. So our history, without you noticing, relate each other quite closely. But whenever the Turks had a problem in the east, we were in peace in the west, and it's the opposite way around. And he enjoys Hungarian food, in this case very special, fish soup, the halászlé, and the fish meal. And also he is very keen to interact with the faculty, and especially with the young people, and that's a very big benefit to everybody who knows him. So, and I would like to thank Martin coming here, and I would ask him to deliver his lecture.